welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking about The Fault in Our Stars, and I don't even want to call it a review because this is so late. It's like 6 years later, but you will not believe it. I have not watched the movie nor have I read the book till now. And you might ask, like, why Neha, why haven't you watched it? Well, in 2014 I had a really big ego and I was like, I'm not going to watch the movie that every single person is watching, and I'm not going to read the book that every single person is reading. And also I just didn't for some reason want to watch a movie where people were dying, and like I knew that they were gonna die, and I don't know, for some reason I was just really resistant to watching this movie or reading the book. But I do love John Green and I love Looking for Alaska and Paper Towns. The Bollywood version of The Fault in Our Stars is releasing very soon, Dil Bechara. So I was like, let's just check it out. So let's talk about the movie, and while I'm talking about it, just try to look at the movie as a movie and not like, oh my god, this is the best book ever and the best movie ever and this is The Fault in Our Stars. Especially because I had kind of like a mixed feeling after watching the movie. The first few minutes I just had to like will myself to not hate the movie. For some reason I was just going at it as if I went into the movie wanting to hate it. It took me a while to do that, and then even after that I just came like, the mom! I've seen the mom somewhere, I've seen the mom somewhere, I've seen the mom somewhere. And then after 10 minutes I was like, I need to find out. So I paused the movie and I'm like, oh, this is the mom from Little Women. And I absolutely love Laura Dern. And then the friend came, Isaac, and I'm like, oh my god, this is Quentin from Paper Towns. And I'm like, this is Quentin from Paper Towns. Okay, yeah, let's get on to it now. What is wrong with me? So I want to talk about this, and I feel like I'm gonna get butchered for this, but I myself did not like the character of Gus as much, and I especially didn't like Ansel Elgort, his acting also as much. And I think the reason for that was I got that he was supposed to be like this bubbly, full of life character, the kind of character who brings the life in Hazel's life. But so often, especially in the first part of the movie, what was supposed to be charming came off as cocky and obnoxious to me, and I was just like, oh, okay, stop. There's that whole cigarette thing where he keeps the cigarette in his mouth but he doesn't light it up, and his thing is that I don't give it power to take control of me, I don't light it up. And then there's a whole part where he gives that speech when his friend is throwing eggs at his ex's car and his mom comes out, and he gives this like really weird speech and his mom gets convinced, and I'm like, this is just so cringe, like, oh. And maybe the whole cigarette aspect of it, I can see it working in the book somehow, because things are a little bit different in the books when you're reading words, especially the acting just did not match up to that. It just came across as really unnatural. Saying that, I did end up liking Gus more in the second half of the movie. I feel like the parts where he is more vulnerable, those are the moments where his acting really came through, and I like those parts. Initially, the problem that I also had was that there was no character development as much, and the development of their friendship at all. Like the first time they meet, they hit it off and they're talking about all these deep shit that you end up talking after maybe at least you've met that person for 5 times or maybe 3 times, whatever, but not in the first go, and it just seems so unnatural. But watching the whole movie, I kind of understood why they rushed through that bit, because they were just trying to pack so much into the movie. But I felt like a little bit of their relationship developing or their friendship developing needed to be there, because it just felt a little unnatural. And other scenes that were like the restaurant scene in Amsterdam and her climbing the staircase in the Anne Frank house, those fell a little bit flat to me because they were extended a little bit too much. And I think the problem that I had in the restaurant scene was there was no sound of the other restaurateurs. What are people called? Other people eating at the restaurant. There was no din of the restaurant. There was no ambience. So it felt like whatever the conversation they were having didn't feel personal at all. It felt like every single person in the restaurant is listening to them, and it just felt so weird. So in terms of like that sound, music and direction, I felt like it just fell a little bit flat. I just felt like the whole Anne Frank house, that whole scene could have been a lot more deeper. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to compare the lives and draw parallels between 2 teenagers who are dealt unfair cards in life. But you can look at it like kind of 2 ways. It maybe is not comparable, because Anne Frank was killed in the Holocaust, it's genocide, it's murder, and I can see people already taking offense to that. And then the other way you can look at it is that she has a carpe diem kind of moment, live in the moment kind of realization there. And I get that because I've been to the Anne Frank house, but I feel like that is almost like an afterthought after a lot that you go in the Anne Frank house, because the Anne Frank house as an experience, it's extremely emotional and saddening, and as a byproduct of that, after you go through all of this, can be a little bit inspiring after that, where I should, use every single opportunity that I am getting, that kind of thing. But the scene kind of skips over those heavy emotions and goes to the end where she has that realization and then she kisses him. And technically speaking also, I think a lot of emphasis was given on her trying to climb those steps, especially because in the actual Anne Frank house, you cannot go up to the attic, it's prohibited. And I felt like that time could have been used to do more of the voice that was going on in her head as she heard every words of Anne Frank, and that could have made the scene a lot more deeper. And also the fact that they get the tickets on spot as soon as they arrive there is nearly impossible, and the fact that they kiss in the museum and everybody, all the tourists around start clapping, is just so cringy. I did enjoy the Amsterdam bits because I love Amsterdam, and especially the parts where they're just strolling on the streets, I love that. And also the part where they're outside the Rijksmuseum and they see these musicians playing music and they're just enjoying that. I love that because I've been to that place and I feel like it's a very special place for me, so I loved that bit. And I think the highlight for me in the movie was also the parents and the friend Isaac, because I love Isaac and Pippa Downs. But I really like the parents bits. I think one, because their acting was really great along with the author, and also I think the highlights in the movie for me, it were in the small bits and not like in the big moments where one of them passes away or things like that. I think it was more in the smaller scenes. I love the author's character and I love the actor who's playing the author's character. I know he's a really big guy in Hollywood, although for the life of me I could not understand what he was going on about the infinity thing until Hazel explained it later in the movie. But I really liked his character. I think he was kind of pushing her a lot more to dig deeper. Along the same lines, I think the movie dug a little bit deeper than just teenagers having cancer plot. There's a moment where Van Houten, the author, when he's really angry, he says, "You're a side effect of an evolutionary process that cares little for individual lives, and you're a failed experiment in mutation." And at another point, Hazel says that, "I'm so excited I can barely breathe," and Gus says, "as opposed to normal." The one that Van Houten says is obviously more serious, and it gives a little different point of view. And the other bit is where they're kind of making a joke out of it. The reason it works is because all three of them are suffering from it. Hazel and Augustus are obviously suffering from it, but even the author, that you later find out that his daughter suffered through leukemia, and I think that kind of makes it okay for them to do it, because otherwise if somebody else who was not going through that same thing and did not understand all of that, it would have been more offensive and kind of like, how dare you say that kind of thing. Then there were bits where my opinion kind of wavered a lot, because there was a point where they were not afraid to show the ugly bits, the ugly parts, when Augustus is not well at that petrol station or whatever and he's throwing up, and in the beginning of the movie also, the opening lines are Hazel saying that, "I'm not going to sugarcoat things and I want to tell the truth" and all. But does it really do that? Doesn't it end up being like a very romantic kind of thing with all the okay thing? All of that again is muddled with the whole live life to the fullest, live with whatever you've gotten. And I felt like that's where the movie got really confusing to me, because I'm like, I don't know what to think anymore. And I think that was in contrast with The Sky is Pink, which again was a similar kind of movie, and I think The Sky is Pink had a very clear vision in that sense, where it was about celebrating life. Whereas here in The Fault in Our Stars, I felt like it got really confusing, like, where are you going? That again was also, I was like, don't tell me that it's a good life, show me it's a good life, because a lot of it is just them talking and the plot keeps moving forward, but I'm not getting that feeling. I am not feeling that chemistry, the great love that you're talking about. So there's so much going on in the movie, and at the end of it, I was trying to think back on like, which is the scene that stood out to me, what was my takeaway, and I was trying to figure it out. And for me, the scene that stood out was where they're sitting in the park for the second time in that where that skeleton is, and she tells him that, you know, you want to be remembered, and his biggest fear is oblivion. And she tells him that, but you are special, and you might not be remembered widely, but you will be remembered deeply. I think that was my takeaway. But the irony here is that he is obsessed with who will remember him, and she is obsessed with what will happen to the loved ones who remember her and how they will cope. And that got me thinking, like, why does she care so much, and why is she so keen about that? Because a lot of the plot of the movie is riding on that. It's about that book. The book ends and she wants to know what happens to the people after that, what the people who love the protagonist. And they do it in bits and pieces where, you know, they meet the author, and the last thing that he says, you know, after he shouts at them and they're getting out of the house, is that, have you asked yourself why you care so much about your silly questions? And the thing is, why does she care so much? And they briefly discuss it, you know, in a few scenes here and there. One is that small scene where her parents are asking her to have dinner and she doesn't want to have, and then it ends up in being this very heartfelt conversation, and that is the end of it. And then there's an ending also where the author has come to the funeral and he's trying to tell her, okay, I'll tell you, and she just doesn't care. Like, it's almost like she's over it. So those are some of my feelings about the movie. Let me know in the comment section what you felt about it. I'm sure a lot of people have their own opinions, what they felt watching the movie. And I think I felt the most bad about Isaac, their friend, because eventually he lost both of his friends. But it, you know, it doesn't really matter. He got lead role in Paper Towns. Quentin, my man. Yes, even though I forced myself to watch it, I don't think so it was that bad of an experience. But Looking for Alaska and Paper Towns are always going to be my John Green favorites. So yeah, that's it. Okay, bye guys. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other movie reviews.